Try this out. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, I'm making a chicken stir fry. Pretty simple stuff. We got chicken, chicken breast, boneless, skinless, broccoli, green onion, onion, and serrano. Not really like a hard recipe, you know. I think just pick a meat, and then pick like a couple things in the onion family, and then a green thing, and then peppers are just optional if you like heat. Oh, and I am doing mushrooms as well. Once again, not a recipe, more of like a formula. For sauces, you know, something salty, something sweet, and then something to thicken it. So I have some light soy, some dark soy, and honey is my sweetener. You could use sugar. You don't need the dark soy. I just think it's cool for color and adds some more flavor. Sesame oil, also optional. It's a nice little note. Sake, cooking wine, optional, but it's nice. You could use Shaoxing or any other cooking wine. And then I like adding sesame seeds for fun. And then the thickener here is cornstarch. So only thing you really need is something sweet and some soy sauce and some cornstarch. You don't need all the other stuff. I have some water boiling because if you have larger vegetables like broccoli, pre-cooking them a little bit makes everything a lot easier. So I'm gonna chop my meat first. Camera bugged out. Anyway, cutting the chicken. Cool. I might only use one big fat chicken breast. I might just cut this for later. It's about a pound of chicken, you know. What I'm making is probably for the average person like 2 servings. For me it's 1. So I'm gonna put that over there. I'm gonna fillet this for later. So I'm just gonna kind of come across the middle and, you know, get her cut in half this way. Cool. And then that's for later purposes. You know, I don't know if I want to fillet it. Maybe I'll fillet it for this. I'm gonna get like thin strips. Nah, I'm gonna do that. Cool. So for chicken breast, not super important, but a little note is that you might see you have these kind of like these muscle fibers going left, right, and then on this smaller part of the pec or chicken breast, whoops, it's up, down. So I separate this. And then I like to cut 90 on the grain, if possible. You know, you don't need to. Just a note. So yeah, you got that. It just kind of improves texture, makes it a little more tender. And then if you tilt the knife a little bit flat, you can get these sideways cuts. So you can get these thinner little cuts, little things for stir fry and stuff. I don't know if you'd call that 45 degree or what, but I'm just cutting roughly against the grain, a little bit thinner because I'm tilting my knife up. If your knife is struggling, I don't know, man, maybe just get a sharp knife. You'll have a lot less problems in life. Like a lot, like most of your problems will go away if you have a sharp knife. You certainly will be safer in the kitchen because a clunky knife is how you accidentally chunk yourself. Once you get here, I stop caring. Just kind of cut vertically and then get this little muscly, tendony thingy out of the way. Yeah, before I had a sharp knife, man, I had no woman. Oh, here, and because these cuts are a little bit larger, I'm gonna cut in half. You know, no hard and fast rules here. These are just like general stir fry cuts, you know, thinner, slabby. But yeah, no woman before my sharp knife. After my sharp knife, still no woman. But they're coming. I can tell. Anyway, so now we have this. I know the grain runs long ways here, so I'm just kind of getting these little cuts. Here we go. That, yeah, no, that's kind of whatever. All right, this is enough for a stir fry. Is it though? You know, All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're running low on time because I'm goofing off too much. So I'm gonna use a food scale, which is actually one of the most important tools in the kitchen. This is probably 250-ish. Ooh, 300 grams of chicken. That's like 3/4 pound. So, you know, it's fine. And then, cool tip, if you weigh your meat, you'll know exactly how much to salt it. I say about 1%, so for 300, we'll put about 3 grams in there of salt. You can go a little under because we'll have some soy sauce and stuff in there, so two doesn't hurt anybody. And then I'm gonna oil my meat a little bit just to make it easier. Just a little. Because you put oil in the pan, you know, it's not gonna even test. Yes. Okay, this thing loves turning off every 3 minutes, so that's gonna be fun. So we're done dealing with our chicken. Gonna wash my hands, and I'll have to wash my knife too. Come on. There we go. Okay. And we have some boiling water happening, so I do want to get the broccoli in there and start getting to work. The cool thing about stir fries is once you get everything cut up and prepped, especially if you're not talking to a camera, things come together very quickly and very easily. So for broccoli, I'm just going to cut all the stems off. If you're cool, you could, I don't know, put these in a blender or something and do something crafty and cute, but I'm not going to go into detail about that because I'm lazy and this is not about that. So I'm going to cut some more stem off so they break apart. You can break them apart with your hands a little bit. Whatever you think would be nice to put in your mouth from a stir fry. So I'm going to cut that in half. That's a little thicky. It's a little bit thicky, but you could eat that for sure. That's probably cool, actually. Okay, so I'm going to salt that water so that while they're boiling, they're going to season a little. Some generous pinches in there. And then we'll boil that for, you know, it's going to depend on how much water to broccoli ratio you have. If you're overstuffing it like that, it might take a couple extra minutes. But this is the pot that I had cleaned, so this is what we're dealing with. So yeah, it could be anywhere between like 1 minute if you have a ton of water to 3 to 4 minutes. The cool thing is you can pull one out and chew on it. And if it's about how you'd like it, maybe a little short, then it's good. So we'll get a strainer ready for that. And we'll come back to that. So I'm going to chop my other stuff up now. So the optional peppers for heat. I will not de-seed them. And a not sharp knife probably can't do this. A not sharp knife will probably be very unhappy with the skin of pepper and fall over and chunk or something and try to go for your fingers because it'll be angry that it's not sharpened. A neglected knife is an angry knife. I can go over other ways to chop peppers some other time. For now, we're just getting things prepped. Gonna go with the process. I might use a lot of green onion. I'm gonna save these two. Nah, I'm gonna use it all. I'm crazy like that. Because of how much green onion there is, I might not put normal onion in there. It's like that a little overkill. You know? Not the end of the world if your ingredient balance is a little off. You know, it's really all preference anyway, so this is just my decision making on the fly. So I'm gonna line these up and just take off all their stems and then get all that gunky stuff off. God, it's still recording. That would have agitated the shit out of me. Let's see. Up. And because my broccoli pot is overcrowded, I do want to give it a stir so they cook evenly, because the ones on the bottom are probably cooking nicely and the ones on the top are not. So we'll just even that out. Now we have that done. Oh, a little slimy fella here too. There we go. There we go. Cool. kind of feel these are about halfway done, maybe a third. Just with a fork. Still a bit stiff, but they're looking really pretty and green. Cool. Okay, so we have this. You know what, I'll separate that green stuff from the white stuff. Just cut into small little chunks. You don't have to go super fine or do anything crazy. Unless you want to, you know, then go ahead. But I'm not that guy today. Just gonna cut them up. Just running up and down. Should use this bench scraper that's right in front of me. Cool. Save that for later. And then we'll get our mushrooms and then we'll be done. And we can just begin. Do the fun part. Depending on what the fun part is to you. That should be enough mushrooms. I've seen people take these little stems out because they're a little bit hard. I don't think you really have to, but I'm gonna. So I'm just gonna pinch and pull. You can cut them out if you're cool. You have a tiny little paring knife that you want to work with, but it's not that hard. Oh, unless they're like that. No big deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, so prepping all your ingredients might take, you know, 5 minutes, might take 15, depending on how fast you are and how many you have. But once that's done, come see the nice. I'm gonna use a rinse. An aggressive rinse. Back to the broccoli. Still not quite fork tender on the stems, so try another minute. And then I'm going to preheat this pan because I'm about ready to get that meat in there. If you are not as comfortable cooking and multitasking, which is very understandable, especially if you're watching this video, maybe finish chopping everything and then make your sauce and then start the stove. Get over here. And then for the mushrooms, I'm just going to go up and down and get these little like ring slices, but it really doesn't matter. You could cut them into chunks or dice them or literally anything just to make them smaller and a little more flat. I'm not even consistent with my cuts. Some are super thin, some are chunky. Cool. Okay, well, everything's chopped for me. So this is smoking now. I'm just gonna get my oil in there after it's smoking. And if you don't have a wok, you can use really any large pan. Just cook in batches, you know? So I'm gonna do chicken first. And if your pan's too small, maybe you do your chicken in 2 batches, you know? Just want to get all the surface area touching the chicken. And then we'll come back to that. There we go. Gonna get a second fork. Probably cut the heat on this. They're about fork tender. My fork can get in there. The onion back. Put that in my fridge. Put to get a little bit of sauce. I do eyeball this, you know, it's kind of hard with amounts. I'd say just kind of understand the rough ratio. Always taste your stuff. and you can always scale it up and down. So I'm gonna do like I don't know, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of that, just for color and some more oomph. Probably a good tablespoon of the sake. Close to a tablespoon of the lighter soy sauce. So there isn't a ton of sodium in there, so that's cool. And then about a teaspoon of honey. Oh, my broken cap. Show. Okay. We'll figure that out later. I can put all this away now. A dash sesame oil, if you really want a measurement, half a teaspoon. And then the cornstarch comes after. Just trust with that one. Go ahead and mix that up. And when I taste, I try to ignore the fact that the wine tastes gross and just think about the salty versus sweet. That's probably about good. So I like to get all the cooking, most of the cooking of the chicken done on one side so I can maximize that color, like that color. So once it's mostly white like that, I'll maybe start tossing it around and just try to get all that pink gone. And I'd say as long as it's 90%, maybe 80% cooked by the time you're done here, then we're happy. Because it will cook a little bit more when we put everything together. So let me get another, we'll do a milk plate. Fuck it. Get that pink knot showing. And if you're nervous about meat, or you don't cook with meat much, or you're like, I don't know, man, I'm scared of undercooking this stuff. If you're not scared of it being dry, just blast it a little longer. If you, you know, like science and want it to be, you know, less dry or something, take one of the thicker pieces, and you can use a little meat thermometer. And that's yeah, that's super safe. Anything above 155 should be totally good. So like this more curved piece that doesn't have great surface area. Yeah, still 160. Oh, wait, no. You see it's like 145 because I'm touching that pink. Just kind of keep tossing around, make sure it cooks evenly. And anything above 185 is super safe. You know, 140 is where we're like, okay, that's a little raw. As long as this gets mostly cooked, I'm happy because it will be back in the pan. So, we're cool. We have that going. I'm going to get all my veg in there. I like to cook in batches. Just like be aware of the size of your ingredients and how much you're putting in there compared to how much surface area of the pan you have. Okay, cool. If I added all the mushrooms and stuff, it might be a little overcrowded. You know, I don't have like an industrial burner, so like this wok isn't getting like a ton of heat blasted into it. Otherwise I'd be like doing this constantly, you know. I can let things sit as if it were a saute pan and work a little bit. I'm gonna toss the mushrooms in now. I think these are cool. The mushrooms shrink a lot. Just make sure I break them up a little. Yeah, if I wanted like more color on this, or I wanted this properly stir-fried, I would let the heat build up before I added everything in there, and then I would honestly only add one thing at a time, and then just keep putting them on this pile of chicken. This is really more of a saute job than a stir-fry job. But your mouth probably won't notice, so it really doesn't matter that much. To me, at least. That's yummy. Salted broccoli. You can already tell the mushrooms are shrinking plenty. If I was feeling cool today, I'd add some garlic. Working. I hope this is working. something up with my camera today. I haven't used it in a while. But yeah, everything's kind of shrinking. If I don't actually agitate or touch it for a good minute, we'll actually get some color on the bottom, and then I'll toss it one more time, and then we can call it. So I'll just kind of sprinkle some sesame seeds on top of there. Call that a tablespoon. I'll deal with this chicken after, off camera. I'm just going to salt it and put it in my fridge and then pan-sear it tomorrow for lunch. I lied. It's for breakfast. I just didn't want to seem weird. Definitely for breakfast. Cool, here we go. Don't touch. Chill. Off camera, I do have rice in my rice cooker. I feel like it's probably not worth mentioning, at least for this video, how to make rice or how to have it always ready with a rice cooker. But that is the carb for this meal, if anyone's wondering, like, bro, where's the carb? There's some brown there, in the edge there. So that's enough for me. I don't care past that point. We got some light browning. And because these are the last ingredients, I'm gonna toss it all in. And I think broccoli may be a little overcooked because it's falling apart. That's okay. It'll still be yummy. And then I'm going to add my sauce. And then if you are smart, you will have a second container ready to go with this cornstarch, but I'm not. So we'll get about a teaspoon of cornstarch. And all this does is it helps thicken so that you don't have a super runny sauce, like it's like watery right now because of the soy sauce. So I'll just add a splash of water, just enough to get that dissolved. Always cold water. And once it looks thoroughly mixed, like that, I'm just going to drizzle that in on top. Okay, cool. And then let's toss. Toss and toss and toss. And then as the heat starts smacking that sauce with the cornstarch in it, it'll thicken a little. Plus a little bit of evaporation that's going on right now. Your sauce will thicken up. So I'm just going to keep tossing to make sure everything's nice and evenly coated. Because I'm using dark soy sauce, it's pretty obvious. I'm going to cut the heat actually, because there's a lot of heat in here already. Just keep tossing and folding and tossing and folding. I like broccoli because it soaks up all that sauce in the florets as you toss it. But you see there's a little bit of white chicken there. Just keep tossing. If you're cool, you could do this a little. And that's cool. That's about it. You can see it's not super thin. There's not a bunch of water running out. Everything's pretty cohesive in terms of color. I'm going to reuse this plate with raw veggies on it because that's cool. Put my rice down. Oh, shit. When you combine everything, toss your green onion stuff in there with it. Then I'm going to reuse that for tomorrow or something. Happy accidents. Okay. So this is probably, yeah, it's probably about 2 servings for most people. I'm gonna eat all of this and then come back and then eat all of this. But that's a simple chicken stir fry. You're welcome. Bye bye.